Skill number 4 is rhythm. And oh my God, it's such a big thing. I'm not sure really how I'm going to explain to you what rhythm is in this short video, but I will show you the basics. Basically, all we need to know is that the English language has rhythm. It's a beat-driven language. If we want to speak so that native speakers understand us and understand what we mean to say, we have to follow the rhythm. If we speak English in the music pattern of our first language, nobody will understand us. And an American ear especially is used to receiving information in chunks, and you have to follow the rhythm, because if you don't, they go like, huh, what? They don't know what to pay attention to. So the ear of a native speaker is waiting for that rhythm, and you have to follow it. This is why Indian people sometimes is so difficult to understand for many non-native speakers, because they speak English in the musical pattern of their first language. And even though their speech is grammatically correct and they're very educated people, it's very hard to understand them, especially if this is your first conversation with them and if you are not accustomed to the way they speak yet. So I will include a list of YouTube videos on rhythm so that you can watch them and see what I mean and what it means to follow the rhythm. But there are 3 basic elements that you can start applying right now. Number 1 is stressing and de-stressing words. Number 2 is rising and falling intonation. And number 3 is knowing where each word belongs. So let's start with the first one. Stressing and de-stressing words. We always have to stress all nouns, all verbs, all adjectives, all negatives, and usually the last word in a sentence. There's a little bit more to that, but for now it's fine. If we take a sentence like, I want to speak English better, we will stress words like wanna, speak, English, better, because it's the last word. We can stress it as well here. And it's a very important, actually logically important word here as well. We will not stress the word I. And actually, all the other words are okay here. They have to be stressed here. I want to speak English better. You see, I barely said the word I. You don't hear it. So if you say something like, I want to speak English better, so you're stressing the word I, you're putting the logical stress on the word I, which is possible in English. However, in all the other instances, none of the pronouns are ever stressed. Never. He, I, we. The verb to be is never stressed. The word have is never stressed. All the prepositions, all the functional words that help us connect content words, important words, they are never going to be stressed. I'm going to show you another video with more examples, but this is just so important. This is the first thing you have to start applying right now. What does it mean to stress a word? Stressing a word means simply saying it louder than all the other words. You don't have to say speak or speak, just as it is, just a bit louder. I want to speak. You see, what I'm doing is all I'm doing is I'm just raising my voice. I want to speak English better. Speak English better. All 3 words are equally stressed. I'm not stressing any of them more or less. I want to speak English better. And a native speaker hears that rhythm. Speak English better. And I de-stress all the words that are not important. So when I de-stress them, they automatically sound a bit quieter. And if you have this impression that native speakers connect the words too fast, they chew words, they swallow them, it's impossible to understand what they're saying in connected speech, this is only because they reduce all the unimportant words. All words like, I should have thought about it before. They never say, I should have thought about this before. Thought, maybe this if it's an important word, and before. This is all what we're going to hear. Should have thought about this before. Should have thought about this before. If this is something important and strategic, we can stress it as well. Should have thought about this before. But, I wouldn't probably stress it as well if I only want to emphasize and if I only want to communicate that I should have thought about it earlier. I should have thought. I should have thought. So everything before thought is de-stressed. I should have thought. This is how the language works. This is why we de-stress everything that is not important. I should have. Modal verbs are not important. Auxiliary verbs are not important, pronouns are not important, prepositions are not important. Yeah, watch a few videos to understand how it works. The second rule that we have to understand is, when do we go down, when do we go up? A very simple way to understand it is this: whenever you finish your sentence, you have to go down. You have to land the plane. So you start somewhere high and then you land the plane. Let's talk about this tomorrow. Down. At the end of every sentence, you have to send a signal to a native speaker that that's it, you're done talking. I'm going to see you tonight. I'm going to see you tonight. Down as well. Land the plane. Whenever you want to send a signal that you're not done yet and something else is coming and you're going to say something else, we go up. Or if we ask a question, we go up as well. Have you been there before? You hear I'm going up. Have you been there before? Do you have a pet? I go up. But if I answer the question, I say, I have 2 dogs. I have 2 dogs. Down. We have to go down. It's a very simple rule that especially a lot of Russian speakers ignore. I haven't really found a reasonable explanation why, but Russian speakers tend to end their sentences high. You know, they go up and up and up and up, and it sounds like a song that never ends. You never really understand if a person has finished their sentence or if they're planning to say something else. And it can get a bit annoying, you know, if you talk like this for a long time. But if you want people to understand you very well, and if you want to send very clear signals that, guys, that's it, I'm done talking, and here's the end of my idea, and I'm going to start a new idea, and this is how I'm asking a question. I went up because this is not the end of my sentence. Listen to how native speakers talk. How do they ask questions? How do they make statements? How do they form negative statements? You will hear that negatives are always stressed. I don't like it. Don't. I can't do this. Can't will be stressed. I've never been there. Never will be stressed. And also pay attention to how they finish their sentences and what they do if they haven't finished. You will hear this gliding intonation, you know, it's gliding upward. So they're like hanging in there for a bit. I'm not sure if you can hear that my sentence is not over, right? I'm going slightly up. But when I finish it, and that's the end of my statement. Down. And the third one is you have to understand where each word belongs in a sentence. In an English sentence, none of the words are there on their own. They always belong to another word, and together they form a word combination. This is important to understand. I'm also going to show you an example with speaking women. So when we did a reading exercise, one student wrote, generally, speaking women. He connected the word speaking to the word women, and he formed a word combination, speaking women. But in fact, the sentence was, generally speaking, women are better drivers than men. So the word speaking doesn't really belong to the word women, it belongs to the word generally. Generally speaking, if you understand where each word belongs in an English sentence, it's so much easier to navigate through the English language. So a very simple exercise that you can do, an exercise that helps you practice so many skills: rhythm, chunking, pronunciation, diction, understanding where each word belongs. It's a very simple exercise. You have to read out loud. Read one paragraph out loud in English and record yourself so that you can listen back to what you were actually reading. It's an amazing exercise. It's very simple, but you understand all the benefits of the exercise only when you start doing it. So give it a try. And I will show you how you can do the exercise with different words and word combinations. Take any sentence and connect the words that belong together. You will see the structure of an English sentence, and hopefully you will find it as fascinating as I do, because it's fascinating to see the structure and to see that it's not chaos. It's very well organized when you can see it. And when you learn to see that, it's going to help you build more correct and more complex sentences in English as well. You'll be able to do it on your own. So that is what I have to say about rhythm, because if I don't stop right now, we can be talking for hours. There's a huge section on rhythm and chunking in the listening course and all the other courses. It's just the basics for public speaking in a second language, for listening better, for speaking better, and for communicating your message across.